All righty, it looks like the attendee list has leveled off. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm Ken Kibler, Director of Training and Client Business Support for eTruckBiz. We will have our weekly business update as well as always a few other items to go along with it. If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A or in the chat, and we will get to those. And without further ado, I'll turn that over to Jeff Walzak.
All right. So anyways, remember, please, that eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, or anything else by FedEx Corporation. And as always, before we get started, Becca has an interesting message for us.
Thank you. So basically, how the FedEx stock is at an all-time high, but your margins are still thinning. And so even though the brand is having this financial success, you as a contractor are facing many challenges, and you might be wondering what you can do to fix this and change it for the better. I've learned a lot since I've been here. When I first started, I didn't know much about FedEx and that you had to negotiate a contract and how important that is, and just so many things that go with it. And the majority of our staff here at eTruckBiz has been in the FedEx space in different positions within FedEx for many, many years. So we've seen it all. We've went through many different obstacles with service providers like yourselves. We know what to do, how to guide you in a better direction. And even if you do have simple questions, that we're here for you guys. And we want you to spend smarter and not harder. So the BGSS, or the Business Growth and Support System, that you probably hear us talking about a lot, this is going to take a lot of stress away from you. This is going to help right here. If you have thinning margins and you don't know where to start, this is your go-to. This is your blueprint. This is going to be a more effective and efficient use of your resources to handle any non-revenue producing activities so that you can focus on what truly matters, and we handle everything else, all of the other burdens that come your way. So we're going to transform your business. Once we start taking over and handling certain things and guiding you in the right direction, you're going to notice that you will start feeling more in control of your business. Things will start shifting. It'll become a lot easier. And let me show you how. So your ultimate finish line. This is basically our goal is to get you what you wanted out of your business in the first place. And so when you first start, of course, you have the ambitions, the goals, everything aligned, but reality sets in and it's not as easy as you may have predicted. Everything that you wanted out of this business, you can still have. We just have to get you there. So most people would say that they got into the business because they wanted a relatively easy business to manage that also gives you the level of freedom that you're looking for, a significant income that they need to support their freedom, and then a business asset that grows in value. And we can help you to obtain those. So the solution to this is going to be the Business Growth and Support System. Now, there's 3 different programs within this system because of the complexity of running this business. We know this space is very complicated and there's different parts and elements to this. So we have different areas to focus on, and we want to take care of all of the little things that you shouldn't have to worry about, because we know that there's going to be things that happen each day in this field where it's unpredictable and you have an emergency, you have to focus on a broken down truck or someone calling off, whatever the case may be. Let us handle the background for you and get you on track and make sure that you're meeting all of your goals and what. So I know that was kind of vague, but I would love to have a conversation with you and see how we can help your business. Call me, send me an email. You can even scan this QR code where you can get on a schedule and we can book a meeting together and basically just go over your needs for your business and see how we can help, where we can fit in. And then if you have any questions, though, feel free. My email is becca@eTruckBiz.com. And that's all I got.
Very, very cool. And Becca talks to a lot of you all week long. Sometimes she's hard to get a hold of. It's okay. Let's look at the volume from last week. Now, the volume is becoming a little concerning. If you look at the pickup stops, that's not so good. They've fallen behind what amounts to a negatively sloped trend line now. That's not good. As well as the packages. The packages are down below the trend line too. This isn't really what's supposed to be happening right now. Same thing over on the delivery side, but it's a little bit worse on the delivery side. Still dropping quite a bit. It's not back down to where it was right after the beginning of the year, but it's still down there. That's not too good. Now, productivity-wise, you'd want to see routes dispatch going down. That's good. But no, with those stops per dispatch, Ken, that's really concerning.
Ooh, that's not good. That's That stomach turning, that's watching the evaporation of everything we worked for evaporate, and it's margin evaporation as well. So,
Yeah, and there's weather out there and there's all kinds of things and excuses, but guess what? What ends up in the bank and what ends up going out of the bank pretty much doesn't care if it's cold or snowy or anything else, right? So we are witnessing an alarming trend when it comes to some ownership transfers or deals out there in FedEx contractor land. Many contractors and would-be contractors mistakenly believe that selling ownership shares or company shares is an easy way to avoid the contract reassignment process. As you recall, and I'm sure you're well aware, this is section 17 of your operating agreement. However, this is not necessarily the case. Done incorrectly, it could cause a world of difficulties. We've seen these types of deals go wrong before, which is why we want to warn you about some of the hidden dangers. Even though we're not attorney, the important thing is to be very cautious about any stock sale or share transfer, as it may have serious unintended consequences for your contract. It's crucial to fully understand the implications before taking this route, right? So what's going on here? Maybe Miss Carrie, would you like to tell us?
Right. Backing up just a bit here, the reason we're bringing this up is we are seeing an influx of stock transfer transactions, or that different way to buy and sell businesses. It used to be you get a bank loan if you wanted to buy an operation, et cetera. And since bank loans aren't as easy to come by, people feel that maybe a stock purchase would fit them better. And if done correctly, yes, it can. It's wonderful. But if not done correctly, there are huge consequences in this space. So you can't just hand off your business. It's a wake-up call. I don't care if you are a 10-year veteran or a first-time buyer. You have to understand there are no shortcuts in this process. It matters, the understanding and obeying the process matters more than speed. One misstep can void your contract. You might own a company with no right to operate. It's important that you know you can't just hand off your business and it's a contract with FedEx. There are no shortcuts, no workarounds. It's an established process that must be followed. And, you know, on the buyer's end of this, you need to educate yourself and find out what that process is. It's surprising to discover how many contractors are unaware of this, or, you know, they tend to circumvent this process. So that's scary in itself.
So some think there is an easy share sale shortcut that they can use to sell their business and that the operating agreement will naturally follow. But this is a dangerous myth that can detonate your entire business. So if people think they can sell their business, well, I just sell it to somebody and it has a contract with FedEx and everything will be fine. No. Some service providers believe that the share sale can be a quick and easy way to exit their business. They believe if the company name and tax IDs stay the same, so why wouldn't FedEx or other interested partners care? But as Carrie said, the reality is that the stock sales are not an easy button. They're a tripwire that can have major consequences. It's critical to understand the full implications before attempting any kind of ownership transfer.
Why the entity behind your contract matters. Let's use a sports analogy. When a billionaire sends a team, the name stays with that team, but the league must approve that new owner first, right? FedEx operates identically to that. They contracted with a specific entity under specific control. You change that control and it changes the deal. So the entity behind it matters as much as the contract itself, okay? When, you know, I don't care if you're a sports team or you think you're buying a FedEx business using a stock sale, you have to still go through certain steps to make certain it happens. If your name isn't on that contract, then you have no rights to that contract. The takeaway is whether, you know, that when a business or an asset changes hands, it's critical to understand the implications for any existing contracts. Even if at surface level, the details of that contract may seem to stay the same.
As we said, it's section 17 of your operating agreement. This is the section of your operating agreement that deals with contract assignment. As you know, one of the major assets service providers have is the operating agreement with FedEx. However, FedEx, by virtue of the language contained in section 17, this is very important. The key point is that even if you have the greatest trucks and most profitable dispatches, they're all worthless without a valid contract in place. For buyers, if you buy a business without a FedEx contract, you're essentially purchasing a shell company with no operational rights. You're just going to have some expensive equipment and some broken promises from people that try to sell them without going through the right processes and procedures.
Right. There is no backdoor entry. So the truth of the matter is, whether you're selling 1 share, 1,000 shares, it doesn't matter. Adding a partner or changing the president, Section 17 of your contract applies to all of it. Ignoring the rules doesn't make the sale easier. It just makes it more risky. So you follow the rules, you protect your investment, you get FedEx approval, okay? There's no shortcuts. I don't know how else to say that, but from a stock sale from the viewpoint of FedEx is exactly the same as an asset sale. So what does that mean? Prospective owners must submit an RFI. They must go through a name interview. They need to get a background check, security clearance, to get into the terminal. You then can be made and therefore transfer that contract into your name. Follow the steps, make sure everything is done as FedEx shows you in your contract. If you're approved, the current owner can then submit a request for that contract assignment change. Trying to ignore the rules doesn't make it easier. It is just truly more risky, especially on the end of the buyer. The bottom line is you need to get the necessary FedEx approval before trying to purchase any current business using this stock sale process.
Okay, so there's 5 events that FedEx would consider where there would be the need for a contract to be reassigned. So what would they say? What are the instances where they would think a contract would need to be reassigned? The first one are court-ordered changes like mergers or liquidations still require FedEx's approval. You can't just give your contract to somebody. FedEx has to approve who you want to assign it to. Next thing is appointing new leadership or transferring ownership, even gradually. This is seen as an unauthorized assignment. So we've seen this here recently where folks give a little bit of stock to somebody else, give a little bit of stock to somebody else, and eventually they wind up with controlling shares, controlling amount, whatever. You have to tell FedEx you're doing that, right? Corporate mergers. So merging into a new corporate entity is treated as changing who FedEx originally contracted with. You can't just change the name of your business and put it in a different tax ID and say, oh, somebody else owns it now. You're going to have to tell that FedEx, and they're going to have to approve the new controlling owner. Even if it's you in a different entity, you can't do that. Subcontracting dispatches and routes to others violates the contract and is considered an unauthorized assignment. Now, there is a provision 7.1 in the contract that talks all about subcontracting. You can do that, but you have to do it according to what's going on in Section 1. In the terms of assigning your contract to a subcontractor, that's a no-go, folks. And then lastly, there's some more wording in the contract that says any transaction designed to sidestep these rules will also be viewed as an unauthorized assignment.
Okay, so let's do it right, not fast. Your contract is your most valuable asset. Without it, the trucks are parked metal. Routes are meaningless lines. Beware of the profit-driven brokers. Some make money only when deals close, whether they're compliant or not. Their profit is from your risk. Transparency wins. Follow the process. Protect your investment. FedEx values and us at eTruckBiz, we're different. We're not brokers. We don't broker deals. We help you spot the red flags before you sign, protecting both parties.
So the reason we bring this up, folks, is there are several situations that we know about right now. And if you're on here and you got some questions, you need to call us about this. That you have to get the contract assigned to the new owner. It's actually, I don't want to say independent, but it's indirectly related to the business changing hands. There is some specific language in your contract about this. There are folks.
Well, you can give examples. Yes, we've heard plenty of stories.
Well, we talked to somebody last week who wasn't on their first particular acquisition, but on their second acquisition. And they were telling us, well, In my second one here, I'm running into all these problems. I got guys calling out. I got all these different problems going on. The operation is in a big mess. And when we started asking them about, well, what does the terminal say about all this? Well, the terminal won't talk to me. Well, why won't the terminal talk to you? Well, I don't know. They won't talk to me because I don't know. I got all these problems. So we dug into it and found out that this particular contractor isn't a contractor. They bought the business from somebody, but they never assigned the contract to the new owner. So
Right.
FedEx doesn't recognize the new owner. The old contractor still has the old contract. So somebody bought themselves $1 million plus worth of trucks and nothing else other than really trucks. The contract is in the sign. There's folks, this is big trouble. The bottom line is this. If you're going to buy something through a stock sale, whoever's buying the shares of stock has to get approved just like it's an asset sale. Okay. Are there any I hope to God there's some questions about this out there that you need to, if you're questioning this, you need to get a hold of us or get an attorney, get a real attorney. Let them really read the contract and let them tell you.
Yeah, there are no questions, but definitely encourage you that this is serious, significant amounts of money. And if you're going to put out significant amounts of money, you want to be involved in the business and you want to do it. So reduce your risk. Please follow the guidelines, follow the steps, know what you're doing. And as Jeff said, if you have any questions, please pick up the phone and call. We are a resource in this space as well. And then once you do the deal right, then we're here as a resource to help you run that business the right way and help it become simple and become easier for you. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Once again, if you have any other questions on them, please do not hesitate to reach out on this or anything else. If we don't talk to you before next Tuesday, please have a safe and profitable week. Thank you very much.